This situation feels like something straight out of a reality show, except there's no script and no paycheck. Everything kicked off when cracks began to show in Lil Scrappy's relationships with both Bambi and Kendra. At first it was subtle fans, noticing strange vibes, awkward social media posts, and silent tension. But things quickly escalated beyond anyone's expectations and turned into a full-blown online mess. Bambi had stayed quiet for a long time, letting people speculate without saying much. But then she decided she'd had enough, and chose to speak up. When she did, she didn't hold anything back. She painted a very different picture of Scrappy than the one fans were used to. Her words hit hard because it's one thing to hear rumors and another to hear it straight from someone who lived it. It made everything feel more real, and it confirmed a lot of what people had suspected at the same time. Kendra was dealing with her own issues involving Scrappy. And once Bambi opened the door, Kendra stepped through it with her own receipts. She didn't want Bambi to take all the spotlight. She dropped her own truth, adding to the already intense situation. Now, it wasn't just about one breakup hit. It was about Scrappy's entire reputation. Both women were calling him out in public, and the way they were doing it left Scrappy with almost no way to defend himself. Online users were glued to every detail. Scrappy tried to downplay everything with some vague posts, talking about staying strong and not letting people bring him down, but that didn't change anything. Once screenshots and stories started making rounds, there was no going back. People had receipts and words weren't enough. The internet has seen the same story too many times. Guy cheats, lies, gets exposed, and then plays the victim. This time, people weren't buying it. Then there's Jock. Somehow, he slid out of the chaos without taking much damage. It's kind of impressive, really. He was connected to the drama not too long ago, but now he's just watching from the sidelines while Scrappy deals with the fallout. He kept quiet, didn't involve himself, and avoided the mess entirely. That might be the smartest move he could have made. When everything is falling apart, silence can sometimes be the best strategy. Scrappy, on the other hand, tried to fight back, and that's where he messed up. The more he spoke, the more people dug into his past, dragging everything out. Things he probably hoped were forgotten were being brought back up, and it just made things worse. Meanwhile, Bambi and Kendra were gaining momentum. For a long time, people questioned their stories, but now they had the chance to speak freely, and they weren't holding back. They were getting support, and they were using it to show what really happened. Bambi kept her calm, stayed classy, and didn't get caught up in back and forths. That's why a lot of people are standing with her. She's letting the facts do the talking and showing she's moved on without the extra noise. Kendra took a more aggressive path. She didn't just share a few details, she laid it all out. Every story, every issue, everything she had held in was now out in the open. Some think she might be going too far, but it's not hard to understand. When someone finally gets the chance to share what they've been through after staying silent for so long, it's tough to hold back. Social media is eating up every moment of this drama. Every post, every reply, every comment, it's all getting broken down like a new episode of a hit show. People are choosing sides, making jokes, and diving into every little thing they can find. And what's wild is that this likely isn't over yet. There's probably more that hasn't come out. Scrappy is stuck in the center of the storm. His public image is taking a hit, and the more he tries to control how people see the situation, the more it seems to backfire. Most celebrities, when faced with this kind of heat, either issue a big apology or disappear from the spotlight until things cool off. But Scrappy isn't doing either. He keeps reacting, and each time he does, it just gives people more to criticize. At this point, he might be better off stepping back and letting it blow over. But it seems like he's too deep in to stop now. Bambi, by contrast, is handling everything calmly. She's not giving too much or too little, just enough to get her message across. That calm, collected approach is working in her favor. It shows that she's already moved forward and that Scrappy's the one stuck in the mess. Kendra is making sure her side doesn't get overlooked either. She wants people to know the full picture, and whether or not you agree with her style, she's definitely making an impact. Scrappy's past actions are out there now, and it's getting harder for him to control what people believe. This whole thing is playing out in real time, and it's not just gossip, it's a public unraveling. With the way people are following every move, it's clear that the story isn't going away anytime soon. Too many people are invested, and there's still a sense that more is going to come out. Scrappy might want to fight it, but it might be smarter to fall back and come back when the storm passes, if it ever does. Because one thing's clear, the internet has a long memory. Now the only question left is, who's going to drop the next bomb? Just when Scrappy thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Right when it looked like the internet had had its fill of the drama and was ready to move on, more dirt started coming out. And this time, it wasn't just Bambi and Kendra doing the talking. Friends, ex-friends, and even random people who claimed to know Scrappy started sharing their own stories. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a breakup, it was about his entire image falling apart. Bambi continued to stay calm and quiet, letting her actions speak. Every time Scrappy tried to throw shade or play the victim, she didn't have to clap back. The internet was already doing it for her. People began digging into old clips and interviews, even going back to scenes from Love and Hip Hop that now hit differently. It was like the puzzle pieces had been there all along, but no one noticed until now. And once they did, it all started making sense. Kendra, meanwhile, wasn't letting up. She was determined to make sure people saw the full picture. She kept hinting that she had even more dirt to expose, and that alone was enough to keep people paying attention. The internet thrives on drama that unfolds piece by piece. It's the kind of thing that makes people refresh their feed constantly, just to see what happens next. And Kendra clearly understood how to keep that going. At this stage, Scrappy had two choices: come clean or keep trying to defend himself. He chose the latter. Instead of owning up to anything, he went into defense mode, posting cryptic captions about people trying to tear him down, claiming he was staying strong through the hate, but no one was buying it. This wasn't just some made-up smear campaign. These were the women who knew him best, calling him out with actual receipts. You can't twist the narrative when the evidence is right there. Jock surprisingly managed to stay clear of all of it. He kept his mouth shut and avoided the spotlight completely. And honestly, that might have been the smartest thing he could have done. He knew that if he said anything, people would start digging into his past too. So instead, he let Scrappy take all the heat while he quietly stayed in the background. Bambi wasn't wasting this moment either. She was turning the chaos into a win. Her following was growing, her name was trending, and people were seeing her differently. No longer just a reality star in a toxic relationship, she was now seen as someone who knew her value and walked away from someone who didn't deserve her. Whether she planned it that way or not, it was working. Kendra, on the other hand, was still locked in. She wasn't finished. And it made sense when you feel betrayed, humiliated, and lied to. It's not easy to just let that go. Sometimes you want to make sure the person who hurt you feels every bit of what they put you through. And Kendra wasn't holding back. She made sure Scrappy got the message, and the internet was right there with her, watching it all unfold. Scrappy's online presence took a huge hit. His comments were full of people clowning him, throwing his own words back at him, and reminding him of every mistake he made. And really, he only had himself to blame. He could have admitted where he went wrong, taken a break, maybe even shown some growth. But instead, he kept talking in circles, refusing to take accountability. And every time he posted, it just got worse. The craziest part? This wasn't happening on a reunion special or a planned sit-down. It was playing out live across Instagram. Twitter and TikTok fans weren't just watching, they were part of it. They were reposting, breaking things down, making memes, and calling him out in real time. And once the internet gets that invested, it's nearly impossible to turn things around. Scrappy was learning the hard way that you can't run from the truth in today's world. Vague posts and victim talk don't work when people already have proof. By now, most folks had made up their minds. His image was wrecked, and unless he managed to completely reinvent himself, he'd be stuck with this stain on his name for a long time. Then came even more whispers, money issues, more affairs, and things people claimed hadn't even surfaced. Yet that's how it goes once the digging starts. One exposed secret usually leads to more. People assume there's more hidden, and they're not going to stop until they find it. Bambi had already started moving on, clearly focused on herself. And her next chapter, Kendra was still in it. But you could tell she was getting what she came for. People were finally listening to her, and Scrappy, he was still trying to win a fight he'd already lost. What he doesn't seem to get is that sometimes the best move is to stop talking and disappear for a bit. Let things settle. But he's not doing that. This wasn't just a messy public breakup anymore. It had turned into something bigger. A full breakdown of everything he'd tried to hide. And from the way things are going, it doesn't look like the internet's ready to move on just yet.